Looks like four people. This
Yep. Welcome to our friend on iPhone. I see looks like not sure if you're in a car or something there, but welcome.
it looks like a car. Someone's in a car or something that's moving a lot.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Just gonna make sure that our stream is working. Cool.
Is this like StreamYard? I've been learning that also.
StreamYard is itself a different program. This isn't StreamYard, but StreamYard has similar features. I use a different program that helps us get everything out, but I guess yes, it might be like StreamYard.
Okay.
There's so many programs even
So
these
what is the
days.
name of this program? I'm just curious because I'm learning.
Yeah, so we're on Zoom, but the Zoom is connected to Restream.
Okay.
It's connected to re we got some audio feedback. Cool.
Restream.
We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Instagram. We got some more people coming in. Wonderful.
I've been posting on with Instagram recently because that's fun.
Yeah, Instagram's good. It's a great it's a great way to engage with community.
So is everyone on here having are they on Instagram too? I got
Uh
Sandra
Everyone
Cruz.
on here? What do you mean by everyone on here?
I mean, well, there was a Cassandra Cruz, and then there's a Dave Frank. That must be him.
I'm not sure where Cassandra went, but no, she was not necessarily on Instagram because she joined us here on Zoom.
Okay. It's just me and you, Jack.
That's all right. Sounds like a party to me, Bobby. That is
Okay.
all right with me.
Oh my God.
We
What
got
happened
Mar
to everyone?
Yeah, people are a lot of people are late sometimes. They show up at different times.
What's
That's all
this
right.
for people?
Oh, we got our friend back. He's coming back. One, two, three. All right, Cassandra's coming back. Wonderful. Four, five. Okay, cool. Well, I'll get us started officially. I imagine some people might still join us as we're going, but we might as well get started. So, as a disclaimer, nothing that is said in this call is to be taken as explicit medical advice. We are simply here to share information and education. We always recommend consulting with a licensed physician when appropriate and when necessary. Please understand that sensitive health matters are to be taken very seriously and do your due diligence and do research when looking into anything. So, with that said, welcome to the BeatCancer.Org weekly call. The purpose of this call is to have a discussion about all things holistic cancer healing and prevention, but really all things holistic health in general and at large, because anything that relates to living a healthy life is going to help us be cancer free. And it can also help us heal our bodies if we are facing a cancer concern. So this conversation is an open Q&A. Anyone at any time is welcome to join the call. Of course, respectfully, please wait for a pause, but you can unmute yourself. You can be on camera if you'd like. And this is an open forum for anyone to pitch any topics of conversation or ask any particular questions, and we will explore the topics together. We have some longtime friends here, as well as some new faces I see. We have a certified holistic cancer coach with us on the call as well. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get into some wonderful topics. If you're watching on a social media such as YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, you can participate in the call by putting questions right in the chat. Or if you would like to come over to Zoom and join us on the Zoom, you can do so by going to BeatCancer.org and clicking on the weekly call button right at the top. And so, with that said, I will open the floor for anyone that has any topics of interest that they'd like to pitch, or any particular questions about something that they might have going on, or any scenario that they might be facing. So I will leave the floor open for a moment, and if nobody has anything, I'll dive into something myself. So now would be a time to unmute yourself if you'd like and share anything that you would like to share. And as another quick disclaimer, if you see me looking around in all these different places like a crazy person, I'm just monitoring our streams on the different social medias. So uh I might look crazy, but promise I'm just doing my job. Well, you're the only one on here and unmuted,
I'm the only one.
Bobby. So what's going on? What's going on with you, Bobby? Is there anything new that you've learned about or found that you'd like to chat about and share with us?
Well, this is all new to me. Um, I'm just learning as much as I can about prevention. And I've been taking all the products out of my house. I don't know if you know of, there's an app you can get, EWG. Do you know about that? That you can, it's for free, that you can actually scan products. And I'm kind of telling everyone about that app. And I'm sure there are others. I think there's Dirty Talk and something else. Fujicate, which helps you find out how 1 to 10, how good or bad or how toxic the foods are in the store. So it's and your personal care products. So I think that's a great little app to go by because I'm teaching people to just clean out their pantry of everything that is bad. I mean, my husband came home with some type of pretzels, and within a week, he had opened the bag, and within a week, I went back to that bag and smelled it, and it was so chemicals. I
Yeah.
had to throw it. I said, "There's something wrong with all this. There's a reason people are getting cancer." And I think that is the one thing people could do is just start with their pantry, and then every time they go to the store, scan those barcodes to see how good or bad. So at least you can make a better bad choice as the worst or a better choice.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It's such an important first step, right? It doesn't get much simpler than controlling what we put into our mouths. And so few people, I think, in the grand scheme of things, really stop to read ingredients lists. And, they might make things a little tricky. They might make it very easy to consume some
mhm,
bad stuff, but that doesn't mean that we only have to be victims to these processed food like products. The ingredients lists are there, but it is important to understand that there is a lot of trickery that goes into these ingredients lists and into food packaging altogether. There's a new one I actually learned about this week. A lot of people were waking up to the colorings and
yes,
artificial dyes. And it was becoming very popular for people to mention to people to look out for red number 40, yellow number 5, et cetera, et
mhm,
cetera. So their newest level of trickery, I'm gonna pull it up here, is they renamed the chemical artificial colors. So this is actually very important information.
I want to
Uh,
know.
yeah, listen to this, right? So red number 40 is now going to be known as Allura Red AC.
Allura,
Red AC.
doesn't
Blue.
that make you angry?
You know, I, I think I'm past the point of being angry about it.
I'm not.
That is a natural reaction, certainly a natural visceral reaction to, waking up to all this craziness. But, on the other side of getting angry is getting empowered. And so because I've empowered myself with knowledge to look out for these things, I don't necessarily have to get angry about it anymore because I know how to protect myself. Because I know if I see these things, then I'm not going to eat that. And so here's some of these other ones, right? Green number three
Okay.
is now known as fast green.
I
Yellow
can't wait
number
to talk about this.
yellow number six is now known as sunset yellow. That sounds nice, right? That sounds very
Of course,
beautiful.
they
Like
make it sound great.
who doesn't want to eat some sunset yellow?
Uh,
Uh, blue number two, indigo teen, like indigo time. And then blue number one is brilliant blue. So look out for these on the ingredients list of things that you might be eating. You might be seeing the red number 40, yellow number 5, orange number 6, whatever, change to other euphemisms. And that's really what they are. They're euphemistic trickery words to get people to let their guard down to what people were waking up to as chemical food dyes. And these food dyes are very important to avoid because they don't come from nowhere. They come from these chemical concoction mixtures that, yes, they might make the food pretty, but the price you pay is with your health. And as time goes on, more and more side effects and very harmful effects in general are coming to the surface and being observed in people that are consuming these food dyes. And it doesn't even take that large of a quantity, but yet a lot of people are consuming a large quantity because in most processed food products, there is some sort of coloring because it allows people to, get that visual experience and that visual stimulus more, and then it attracts people to make those purchasing decisions more. It doesn't make it taste better. It just is a psychology tool that these marketers use to get people to ultimately purchase their product and keep coming back. But, it's there's no sunset yellow in nature besides looking up in the sky and seeing a nice yellow sunset. There's, these things don't exist in nature. So just think about when you see something in your ingredients list that doesn't really, you don't really know where that came from. I would advise having your guard up at the very least. But there are wonderful tools out there, like Bobby has mentioned, like the apps that she's mentioned. There are plentiful tools out there. But even so, a lot of these things are just a Google search away. And although Google can give you some funny results sometimes, you can also very much easily get to the bottom of what an ingredient is at a baseline level. And ultimately, my advocation is for developing a working knowledge in yourself to the point that you don't need these tools, right? It might seem cumbersome to use a tool and scan everything and like that might not feel like a sustainable long-term thing to do. It might seem like it's a real drag, right? Oh, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna scan everything before I eat it. Well, no, you don't necessarily have to. As you use that tool, it would be privy of you to start to remember things and start to understand some of these things to look out for and learn some of these word games and these tricks that are out there. And then you don't necessarily need the training wheels of those kind of apps and tools and scanners after a little while. You just build up the knowledge and you also build up that intuitive sense, right? I mean, let's get real. If we're picking up, I don't know, Chips Ahoy cookies or Twinkies or some sort of prepackaged, really anything off the shelf of Walmart, are we expecting it to be clean? No, right? Like so we can give a bit of sense of thinking to these things, and it doesn't have to be so complicated after we get into the rhythm and into the flow of looking out for certain things. Um, yeah, but that was a new one I learned this week. The fun colors, the fun color names. Awesome. So while I was on that rant, welcome Maya to the call. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Maya.
Oh, you're on mute, Maya.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Maya.
I think
Hello,
mine was
hello.
mid. Yeah.
That's all right. Had you heard of that? Had you heard of that new those new colors, Maya?
No, no.
I can't wait to
You,
share it.
I know you exposed them to me. I gotta prepare all this like now because everything like that, I always make a PDF to pass it on to my clients.
Yep.
So I gotta make that up so people would know. That's crazy.
Yeah. That was sent to me by someone. It's crazy. It's
Yeah. Look, I learned this week that there's 262 names for sugar substitutes, for sugar and sugar substitute.
Yep.
Two,
260.
262.
I thought there were only 100. Only.
No, no.
62 now.
There's
Maya.
262. I know. It's just crazy.
And you know what? It goes back to my point though, while that does sound scary, if we live by the motto of does that ingredient exist in nature? Like what is that? That
Right.
would probably eliminate a lot of those sugar names, you know? A lot of them are gonna be some sort of strange name that it's definitely not a plant and it's definitely not an animal. So it's not real food. You know, it's some sort of synthesized something. But you know, of course, that
Right.
said, there are a lot of trickery words out there for sweeteners that they do sound natural or they claim to be derived from something natural, such as a plant, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are healthy either, because when you take something in nature and isolate one specific element of whatever that is, and then synthesize it or just reproduce it and isolate it and get it in such a pure form that would never be found in nature because in its natural form it is present amongst a whole plant. Our bodies aren't necessarily designed with the consumption of that pure isolate in a concentrated way in mind. And so just because something is, quote, natural, because that's a phrase that gets used a lot on things that aren't necessarily good and aren't necessarily healthy, just because we see that word natural, that doesn't mean to let your guard down. That means, you know, to still do your due diligence because that word natural and a lot of other buzzwords that might bring our guards down to something and rope us into thinking it's a clean alternative, they get approved to be used on some real nasty stuff.
Yeah. That is
Yeah,
so true.
absolutely. So we got some questions in the chat. I'll get to this. There's a specific question, then I'll touch on yours, Annette, in a little while. So someone asked in the chat, I was recently diagnosed with a few things, including anemia and splenomegaly. Excuse me for if I pronounced that wrong. Splenomegaly. Splenomegaly, yeah. Wondering what is healthy for the spleen and help to activate it. So looking for things to help the spleen, and that might be good with anemia. Maya, do you have any thoughts on that? I'm gonna have to pass that to you. That's not an area of my expertise.
Mhm.
It might not be yours
Uh,
either, and that's okay.
um,
But do we have anything for that?
I don't know much about splenomegaly. I hope I said it right. Um, but anemia is something that comes from digestive system. There's something is wrong in digestive system that is not isolating uh, basically protein from from B complexes, I would say, because those are the main B complexes that, build the red blood cells within us. I mean, within our body. So what I would look into, check stuff like your hydrochloric acid, which is stomach juice, that is responsible to isolate protein from like B's from minerals, and particularly from B complex minerals. Less stomach juice people have, less intrinsic factor they're going to produce that isolate, for example, protein from B12. And B12, probably a person who is anemic, he would be low on B12 either, most likely. So looking into the digestive system instead of like jumping and supplementing with, making sure that you have a good balance of the hydrochloric acid. And what lowers the hydrochloric acid is basically stuff like junk food, we all know, oils, particularly seed oils. They cause this imbalance and could cause heartburn, GERD, all of those symptoms. So if a person has those symptoms, so that's what I would focus on digestive system, because something is not digesting right. Something is not breaking down. Something is not digesting right. That's why people are low on anemic, unless there's some serious health conditions and they might be internally bleeding somewhere, and the causing anemia. That's another thing. Paying attention, I would start with digestive system.
Yep. So I just did some brief searching, and it's essentially saying that splenomegaly, that's an insane word,
Yeah.
refers to the enlargement of the spleen.
Yeah. Is
And
there, sorry.
go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, like, it does. It's something that correlated with spleen. So what makes spleen to be enlarged? There might be some conditions like the blood disorders.
Yep.
Right. So I would say like checking on that part to like, this is when the body produces too much, I would say, white blood cells that cannot utilize them, and they can settle in the spleen and become enlarged. So again, there's something more is going on in there.
Essentially, yeah. And
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that it's not just going to pop up by itself. The
No.
splenomegaly isn't
Yeah.
itself the issue. It's more
Right.
of a symptom and something
Yes.
that's happening in, comorbidity with other things,
Right.
because essentially the spleen is a filter. And if we have things going on that are causing a buildup of things and making it harder for our spleen to filter, then that's going to give it a harder time. That could lead to inflammation. That could lead to toxic buildup and toxic load. And so, yeah, this,
Yeah, I wonder, beside being anemic, if there's like white blood cells counts are up. I don't know who we're speaking to. If there's white blood cells are up, if there's any infection and inflammation is going in the body.
yeah.
It's like I probably would be wise to check those out.
Yeah. Well, that person, they did send the question to me as a direct message. They can unmute themselves or come on the call if they would like to, share. But, otherwise I will keep them anonymous to respect them. But, if
Sure.
that was your question, please, by all means, you can participate in the call, and we can chat about the case
Yeah.
a little more.
In some cases, doctor might remove the spleen, but removing the spleen is not fixing the root cause of the problem. For example, it all depends where is it coming from. People need to know where is it coming from. There is an somewhere underlying cause of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cassandra, I saw that you unmuted for a moment there.
Hi, sorry. This
Hi.
is my first time, so I'm not quite sure of how a friend sent me your link. And maybe when you said there was other platforms, I did get a little intimidated of other people listening in. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was my question. So there is other issues. So I appreciate that, realizing that the spleen is the symptom, and getting
Yeah.
care of would help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually when the spleen enlarge, this is a last like I would say that, how to say this, when there's some sort of like lymphoma or leukemia, okay, and when there's too much production of white blood cells, and for body to kind of body cannot get a chance to eliminate them or convert them or repair them, so the place they usually build up is in the spleen, or there's some kind of chronic inflammation. So they're more of a root cause underlying condition in there. Needs to be addressed first.
Yep.
Yeah. And that could be cause of B12 too, obviously.
Thank you. I know there's been some lymphatic exercises that have seemed like maybe the rebounder. Some people talk about different things. So I didn't yeah,
those are all good, but there's some kind of chronic inflammation needs to be addressed somewhere.
yeah,
It's good to get like to that understanding what is the problem and then start repair process.
thank you.
Sure.
But yeah, you are certainly on a good line of thought with wanting to address the lymphatic system.
Yes.
The lymphatic system is so under considered, I would say, at least in modern Western society. And when our lymphatic system is blocked up and not flowing properly, and lymph nodes aren't operating properly, that does contribute and correlate with a lot of other ailments in the body and a lot of other organs dysfunction in the body. So whether someone has something that's going on or not, or whether someone, whether it is going to be the solution, or it's certainly not going to hurt to do things that can stimulate the lymphatic system. And there are a lot of things that do stimulate the lymphatic system in different ways. Like Cassandra mentioned, rebounders. That's just rebounding, jumping on the trampoline, or even just jumping up and down in place. Dry brushing is a fantastic way that someone can themselves, and for a very low cost, get the lymphatic system moving. But then there's even things like proper clinical massage therapy. There's a difference between, just general light touch massage and someone that has a proper understanding of the lymphatic system as a massage therapist. A proper massage therapist can actually find blockages in the lymphatic system, and through physical manipulation, open up those blockages and get things moving as well. That goes along the lines with acupressure or acupuncture. There are a lot of different things that we can do, but a lot of it is in regards to getting our body in motion and moving and flowing and fluid and stretching. And our bodies take a beating when we just sit down all day, or even just sit and then lay down and walk around. We're meant to be moving and mobile, and it's not just an external health thing. It's very much essential for our internal organs as well.
Yeah.
So
I want to add something to lymphatic drainage. We have to know that lymphatic system is basically 96% of water. So hydrating with minerals is very important, because there's no other way people can do a lymphatic drainage if they're dehydrated. So this is one of the important part of the lymphatic drainage. You can do rebounding, like Zach said, you can do massage, you can do dry brushing, deep breathing exercises, certain yoga moves that particularly around diaphragm, because that's where the most lymph nodes are located, because all the organs, particularly around liver, because lymphatic system is our like sewage of our body. So every organ would dump all the toxins that they want to eliminate from the body into the lymphatic system. So it's very important to do lymphatic drainage, particularly around the stomach area. And that's where we have a soft tissues, and it's hard to kind of go very deep in there. So doing massages and doing certain deep breathing exercises when you basically move your diaphragm up and down, and that's internally with massage the lymphatic system, and doing certain yoga move. I know there's a crocodile move when people lay down on their stomach and they lift their feet up and their head up and their arms up. So it's like and then going back and down. So all of those things matters when it comes to lymphatic drainage, but most importantly, hydration.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Can you
Okay.
talk about skin cancer?
I'm sorry.
What?
Skin cancer, Mohs surgery.
What about skin cancer?
After you've had surgery, what kind of things did you start taking?
What your question was, what kind of things you can take for skin cancer? Is that the question?
Yeah, there's a place in Florida, D-Land, that has these stem cell activators.
Okay.
Are those good to take? Stem cell activators?
It depends. I
You know-
cannot say. Yeah, it depends why and for what. Well, when it comes to skin cancer is something that when our body exposed to toxins, and our skin is another organ of our body, is largest organ of our body. If it's exposed to toxins, or like any other organ, when it gets exposed to the toxin, it would create something abnormal. So understanding like why, like, what the person has been exposed to, what the surrounding area. I mean, you can take stem cell activator, but if you're not cleaning internally and externally your body, that stem cell activator is not gonna do a big of a function in the body. So you have to do all the cleansing. Another important part is like I don't want to touch like sunscreen lotions because they do cause skin cancer because they're full of toxins. So this is like very well known at this point, I think. So beside that, there is a vitamin D deficiency. That's a very important part of the skin cancer. And vitamin D deficiency is for people being afraid exposing themselves into the sunlight, and their body cannot make a proper vitamin D. And the vitamin D is very sensitive. It's a hormone, actually. It's not vitamin. It's a hormone, but they call it D. It's very sensitive vitamin. And the way our body would make it is through the synthesis, like a retina signaling the brain that the person, that like you're in the sun, and the liver is going to produce needed enzymes to absorb through the skin and utilize it in the body. So when people exposing their skin to the toxins, they're damaging their skin highly. So before the stem cells, there's so many steps needs to be done. And then if those are not gonna repair the process, then probably, going for stem cells. I personally never heard the stem cells for skin cancer, but it's a new trend now. Your body has to make its own cells, and you have to boost your immune system to the level that it's gonna make healthy cells. Don't take your body for granted that it's not gonna make anything. It will make it. So when you introduce something from outside, you're depleting your body's ability to produce it itself. So
It's a very great point. You know, a lot of
yeah,
people get caught up with what can I take for this and what intervention can I implement for that? And meanwhile, looking within and considering the lifestyle changes can get us a lot farther perhaps than a additional intervention or an additional
yeah,
supplement or an additional thing that we're adding into our body. And if we're not addressing those lifestyle things, then a lot of times these interventions, they might just only provide temporary relief, even if they are very powerful, because ultimately it's our day to day and hour by hour lifestyle choices that create the sum or deficit that is our health. And you know, that
yeah,
doesn't mean that there aren't wonderful interventions out there. Stem cells look to be a fantastic tool, such as
right.
many other supplements and many other interventions, etc. But they're not a replacement for making healthy everyday decisions, like Maya said. And in regards to skin cancer, it's not that difficult of one in the sense that we can be very aware of what we are inputting into our bodies because
Mhm.
when we slather ourselves with chemicals,
Right.
that's probably not going to bring our skin in a positive direction from the outside seeping in.
Yeah.
But also from the inside out, our skin is also a representation of what's going on internally. So when
Big time.
people have skin concerns, whether that be skin cancer or that is some sort of other ailment, such as the psoriasis and eczema, a lot of the times, essentially every single time, it's an indicator that something's going on internally. Something has accumulated or is askew internally that's trying to purge out through the
Yeah.
skin, and it can tear that skin up on its way out along the way.
Yeah,
So
I agree. The skin is a mirror of our insides. So whatever is happening on the skin that's been inside, something is not working right, particularly when it comes to liver. It's most likely like there's a liver is overtoxicated and it's just sending this is a signal of our body when we get any rash or anything on our skin that we have to look internally first. And what are we exposed to? Like this is not only sunscreen. I'm talking about wearing synthetic clothes, sleeping in a bed that is not cotton. I mean, like, what kind of detergent do you use? What kind of soaps do you use? Like, shampoos, conditioners, all of those things matters when it comes to our body or our skin. So when you say about stem cells, to be able that stem cell to work on you and get the great results, you have to eliminate all those, precursors. I mean, like all this, like, toxins from your body, and then go for that stem cell to have a great effect from it, you know. Um, so this is not only a skin cancer, this is about everything basically, and yeah, and vitamin D deficiency is one of those biggest problems now in our days to get skin cancer because our skin needs fat. Again, what kind of fat? What is it coming from? That's another thing. Because if your skin is, if there's no fat under your skin, your body is not going to make vitamin D. So there's so many connections and correlations that we have to pay attention before we jump into taking something, a supplement or mineral or anything. That's why a lot of times chemotherapy does not work on people because overtoxicated body, there's more toxin being introduced to the body, and body cannot take it and it cannot just handle it. You're muted. You're muted, Zach.
thank you. Yeah, it's a fantastic point because our body, it is very, very resilient. Our body is so beautifully designed and it can take a lot, but it can't take it forever, you know? And this is why it's frustrating when trying to assist people and uh when people are doing things that you love, or you love those people, but the things that they're doing are harmful, because things don't necessarily give a direct feedback right away and show how harmful they are. And so that's why you get the common adage of people making unhealthy decisions and making them very often and making them for a while saying, "Oh, no, 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 I do it all the time and I'm fine." Or, "No, it's okay, I'm fine, I'm still alive." Well,
Mm.
after a while, your body isn't fine anymore. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next year, but when we put bad stuff and nasty stuff into our body, it doesn't go nowhere. It goes somewhere, and our body tucks it away to protect us and protect us from those negative effects in that right now. But if we keep
Yeah,
piling that stuff on, it
yeah.
is only a matter of time before some sort of problem manifests.
And
And that's
guess
why,
what? Yeah, and guess where the toxins get built up? They store themselves in the fat tissues. The fat tissues, this is, we're talking about fat that comes from uh, polyunsaturated fats, such as like all the seed oils, like canola, all the liquid oils that comes into our diet. That's where the toxins stores themselves.
yeah,
So, because healthy fats, such as like saturated fat, the body utilizes them. It makes something from them. Like it would convert them into the hormones, it would convert them into making cells. But polyunsaturated fat, body doesn't know what to do with it. And it's builds up in our body everywhere. So, and they store enormous amount of toxins.
yeah. And there's different places, it's not necessarily in specifically just fat. There's different organs, there's different, areas of the body that our bodies tuck stuff away. Different emotional and energetic blockages can get an area of the body locked up, and then that can itself trap toxins if that area itself isn't flowing healthily. Men and women, our bodies work differently, and there's certain patterns that happen in our bodies where certain, men's bodies generally store stuff in certain places, women's bodies store stuff in certain places, and that's why it's a very unique circumstance for everybody to figure out what's going on necessarily with their body. But there are of course patterns that we can observe and use to um, you know, figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. Is there any other topics of interest for anyone? It's a pretty quiet night tonight. Not a ton of people on our socials or on the
Yeah.
call. But is there any other stories or comments or questions that someone would like to pitch to the group? Now would be a wonderful time to put it in the chat or unmute yourself, and do feel free to share with us what is on your mind. And if not, we will find something to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very quiet evening today.
No. All right.
No, I
Well,
guess not.
something that we were just talking about, or Maya was just mentioning in the fats that we cook with, that's always a great thing to talk about because it is such a essential part of health. And I think a lot of the demographics of our calls have been in, grew up in times where fat was so demonized and so thought and made out to be the end all be all enemy, and don't consume fat, and we need to replace everything that has any sort of natural fat with low fat alternatives. And that was a very experimental thing that hadn't been done before, and we are now seeing such a massive impact and such massive ramifications for not just the lacking of natural healthy fats, but also the addition of these allegedly healthier alternatives. And that does come in most commonly in the form of the seed oils. And it's just crazy, and sometimes I forget that a lot of people don't understand these things, but
No,
it's the most common one, like Maya mentioned, is canola oil. And most people don't even know what that is. Canola isn't a plant.
no,
Does anyone know what canola stands for? Maya, do you know?
I have no idea.
So
I know they produce organic canola, and I was always curious where that coming from.
so yeah,
So,
canola isn't a thing.
yeah,
Canola is like an acronym or a shortening of the word or the phrase Canadian oil low acid.
I know
Because
yeah,
it's just a manufactured chemical.
I know it
It's
was meant to be as a lubricator for machinery.
yeah.
That's what they created, but they created too much. They didn't want to disregard it. They said, okay, why don't we feed the humanity with it?
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what they did. And and they start debunking and bad mouthing saturated fat, where humanity had it for millions of years before, and stating that it's so bad and this is your oil. So, and everything skyrocketed from that time on. All kind of diseases and including cancer, everything skyrocketed, including heart diseases. So
Yeah, it's just such an insane thing. People, it's been normalized to just, oh yeah, canola oil, cooking canola oil. But like I said, canola isn't a thing. It's such an industrial name even
yeah,
that people haven't thought. It literally means Canadian oil. It's just an oil produced in Canada and manufactured in Canada.
yeah.
It's
We everything that what comes when we put in our body, we have to question 100 times before we put it in, instead of listening and hearing. This is good for you. Go do this. Go do that. Um, do your research before you put anything inside your body.
yeah,
Because that's the only place you own, and that's the place you live in. And if you don't take care of it, if you put junk in your body, and your body is going to pay back with junk. This is what we have to remember.
yeah,
And unfortunately, uh, we are inundated with commercials
Yeah.
that make everything sound like this is the best thing you need to do for yourself. And in the commercials are, you have to be aware.
Yeah.
They're spending the money on all the uh, advertisements, and a lot of it, I just think people are misguided with all the commercials. I mean,
Yeah.
I think years ago, what was it, Cocoa Puffs? The doctors recommended that for babies, or I mean, it's just crazy things when we grew up with all these things that we thought were healthy, and they were not. They were not, and now they've gotten even worse. So
They at some
watch what you
point,
see.
yeah, at some point they start debunking mother's milk. This is
Yes.
just insane,
Oh,
stating the
yes.
formula is the best choice for your baby.
Yes.
This is just like a craziest thing you can ever hear. Like debunking mother's milk. How is that possible? Like for millions and millions years, always were fine, but suddenly it's not good enough for babies. Then they have to put the milk, the formula. If you look at the ingredients of that formula, it's just crazy. It contains soy protein, and it's soy oil. No wonder so many babies having so many problems nowadays, from eczema, from rashes, from everything. Um, it's I would say it's a crime. Crime.
yeah. Yeah, my thoughts on it are very much that as well. I think baby formula is child abuse. I don't think it's fit for
Yeah.
human consumption. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's all sugar, corn syrup solids,
Yes.
chemical colorings. So I
Mhm.
imagine, we'll see some
Sunset.
sunset yellow in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds.
it's such an insane concoction. It's really mad science.
Yeah.
It really is mad science. It's
Why are they doing this to us? Or
well,
why are they putting this stuff out there? I mean, children in elementary school are having cancer,
Money.
they're type
Money.
2 diabetic.
It's money, and the
Oh,
second is it's all about the money. Any way you look at it, it's all about the money. They won't make money on a healthy society. They have to keep people sick enough to be able to
make more money.
make more money because they chronically the system is to manage conditions, it's to manage diseases. It's never healing, it's never reversing.
Maintaining.
It's maintaining, because more they maintain, more money they're going to make out of people. You know, there is no money in a healthy society.
yeah.
And I hear now, and I'm hearing this from a lot of people that do, many doctors, not all of them, but many doctors, when they put them on a medication, they're telling the patients, you have to take this for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
That's what they're telling people for
yeah.
now, maybe someone does, but I would be skeptical. And if I heard a doctor say, you have to do this for the rest of your life, run like the wind. And I will tell you, I was one of those people that was believing everything. I had adult onset asthma at 32, and 5 years they had me taking those shots for allergies, and then years and years of taking medication and carrying an EpiPen. They had me scared to death, and antibiotics and steroids and the inhaler. I take nothing now, and now I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Just I figured it out, but I mean, I'm old, so people my age, they just believe every single thing the doctor says, and doctors do a lot of good. I'm not, I love our hospitals, and medication saves lives, but you have to start being your own advocate today. You really do. And you really have to study, and you both are great with all the information. I'm learning from both of you. And I'm thanking you. Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
writing notes the whole time, so I hope
yeah.
everyone else is learning on this call.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. More awareness we can bring to people, the better health people are going to get. We all been there. We all struggled with cancer and health issues. And we learned on our own, health conditions, from our own health conditions. Basically, almost everyone here had done that. So, and that's where we have to look to the next level. How can we heal our own body? Because our own body it has all the tools inside sitting there and just literally do it's working every single day. Just need that fuel. It needs the fuel to heal itself. And
But
we have to be responsible to give that fuel to our body. So
Yeah.
yeah.
a lot
And
of people, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, and the fuel, it doesn't come from what the food companies are dictating basically to people what to take and what to eat. The fuel comes from what we originally had, what God created in the first place. That's the fuel we're talking about. We had that all the time. It never been taken away from people. We always had the produce, the stuff that grows on the trees, on the soil, and we had animals for it. So it's always been around, and we've been confused to the extent that we don't know what kind of diet we should be on, what should we do, what should we eat, just because we've been told that whatever God created, it's all false. Nothing is right in there. So what we're creating, this is all good for you. So man-made is good, but God-made not good. So
Well, you have people out here denying the existence of God, period. And, to be very clear, BeatCancer.org is accepting to all faiths. We're not necessarily affiliating ourselves with any particular religion or particular brand of faith or belief in a higher power, but we will stand firmly and say that nothing in this life is random, and
Right.
it is the disconnection of us as human beings to a higher level consciousness and a higher level of purpose that is only from a sense of God or the collective
Right.
consciousness or the universe at large or anything
Universe,
like that.
universe. Yeah, let's say it
It- it-
universe. I want to correct myself in that part. You know me, Zach, I'm not a religious person.
But it's all the
So,
same thing.
right,
It's all the
yeah,
same.
yeah, it's let's say it universe. I just say God because a lot of people are kind of easier for them to understand.
Yeah.
A lot of people are believe in it. So that's why I mentioned God, but let's say it universe, a higher power or greater consciousness. So
Exactly.
anything,
And
yeah,
it's, because the mental health is so tied to our emotional health and our spiritual health is inherently tied to those things as well. We have to look at things at a meta societal level. And when people at an individual level have been disconnected from thinking that or knowing that there is a higher purpose in this life and that there is a real reason that we are here on earth, then what does that set the stage for? That sets the stage for nothing matters, everything's random, my health is random, nothing
yeah,
has purpose or cause. That means my health doesn't have purpose or cause. I'm just a feather in the wind at the whim of this, earth here. And when I'm dead and gone, it'll be done and nothing matters. This nihilistic stance, even if someone doesn't necessarily think about that consciously throughout their day-to-day life, if that's their foundation for living within, that sets the stage for internal chaos,
mhm,
internal sorrow and doom and despair, but also societal chaos. Because if you don't love your creator and love the universe and love yourself, how are you going to love your neighbor? Because you don't care. Nothing matters. It's all random, right? And it's important to look at these things at such a large level because everything's interconnected, and all of the social engineering that has occurred simultaneously with these engineered food products, with these engineered thought processes, I don't think that they are disconnected. Matter of fact, quite the contrary.
yeah,
And so we need to care for ourselves mentally, spiritually, and physically if we wish to give ourselves the best shot of remaining cancer free and in good health.
right,
That's why it's important
yeah,
to consider these things.
yeah,
With that, we have 1 minute to go on the call. So if there's any last minute additions anyone would like to toss in, we can cover it there. If not, or if you're catching the recording, do feel free to join us next week, same time, same place. Tell your friends, share the link on social media, get some more people in here. We can have some more awesome conversation. We can get some more questions answered, get more people at the help that they're looking for. If even between these weekly calls, please feel free to reach out on social media, comment on our posts. You'll get a response from a staff as soon as possible. You can take our educational programs, which then gets you access to our closed Telegram group where you can participate and ask questions, and we could have conversations like these throughout the week as well, not just only on these calls. You can always reach out to us, myself, or Carl, the CEO, at support@beatcancer.org. And if you have any questions about anything that we do here at the Center for Advancement in Cancer Education, we'd be glad to get you the answers that you are seeking. Well, it looks like I just used up that last minute, but
yeah,
thank you everybody for joining and
yeah,
participating. I hope you guys had a good time. I'm glad that we got some questions and participation. It's always wonderful to be able to help people. And
yeah.
we'll see you next week. Same time, same
Bye,
place.
bye, bye.
Bye.